What's good, YouTube? Just a Casual Nerd here, back again with another video. And today we got a little bit of interesting topic, and it's gonna be a little bit more informative, more than anything else, rather than me sharing my opinion. Which I'll share my opinion, but share a concrete opinion on it. But I want to talk about the recent discussion when it comes to redheads or ginger characters being cast with black actors or black actresses. Now, what brought about this discussion again, because it has been talked about for the past couple of years here and there, but what really kind of brought the discussion back was the Little Mermaid trailer, which it came back with on one side with very great reviews for the trailer, then the opposite side with a whole bunch of downvotes. Now, in my opinion, which I know I just said this will be informative, but in my opinion, I think Haley will probably do a good job in the role. I mean, she's had some acting roles before, so she'll probably do good in that role, and obviously she's a great singer as well. So being able to actually do the part, I think that's not really an issue or a problem. So anything, really when it comes to this topic, in my opinion, it's not going to be ever about the actor or actress that's involved. Because I mean, if you don't already know, I am black, so obviously I want to see black actors and black actresses, take the screen in various roles and be successful in that. And I don't think anybody should, stop themselves from getting the bag. So if Disney's presenting you with that check, go ahead and get that Disney bag. All right, but I still do want to talk about this topic because it is kind of nuanced. So there's multiple sides to it. I know on social media it looks like there's just two sides, but there's really four sides to this issue. Now, for those of you who are not really familiar with the issue, I'm going to kind of show a quick little montage of different characters who, from the source material that they're pulling from, may be redheaded, or they may be a ginger character either in comics or their original film or something like that. And then when they're portrayed in a live action show or a live action movie, they're instead casted as just a black actor or a black actress. Well, sometimes they have the black actress or actor usually actress have red hair, but a lot of other times it's just a black actor or actress with black hair or darker hair. And obviously there are a couple more than these. I just didn't feel like putting every single one of them, but here's just a couple of them. All right, so obviously we have Ariel from the Little Mermaid, which is the one that kind of brought this conversation back up again. But here's some other ones that you probably already are familiar with as well. We have MJ from Spider-Man. We also have Iris West from the Flash show. We have Starfire from the Titan show, which I'm gonna get into as well. While characters who are not necessarily based on known regions, where there's more wiggle room, where some people argue that the race or the color of the skin doesn't matter as much. As we know, Starfire, she has orange skin, which a black person, their color of skin is more closer than orange than if it was a white actor or actress as well. But we'll kind of get a little bit into that as well. But moving on from that though, here's a couple other ones. We also have Wally West from the Flash show. We have Hawk Girl. She was in Legends of Tomorrow, I believe, but basically the Arrowverse. We have Cyclone, who's going to be in a Black Adam film, so it's in the DCEU. We have Alicia Masters. She was in the Fantastic Four movies, and she was played by Kerry Washington, and she was the love interest of Ben Grimm, or The Thing. If you don't recall, I know that was a little further back. We also have Jimmy Olsen, who's played by a black actor in Supergirl. I'm sorry, I don't recall this particular actor's name, but he played Jimmy Olsen, which I know, as you can clearly see, they look a lot different. Who else we got? Oh, we also have Ripcord, who, G.I. Joe, and then once they brought him to live action, also played by a black actor. And I think following that, I think they also made him black in the animated, in one of those animated shows that they do as well. But those are a couple characters who are in the original source material, maybe, ginger or have red hair, and have been casted by a black actor or a black actress. Now, obviously, we know that, black people who can have naturally, red hair as well. But the argument is normally with these characters, a lot of these characters, they have that or specific, red hair and generally white skin who come from usually European descent. So that's where all this kind of issues and debates are coming from, but I'm gonna kind of lay out these different schools of thought for you guys. So if you weren't aware, so that's the particular issue that's going on. Some of you I know are not on social media like that, so you don't know the debate or what's going on. But with that being said, there's actually four different arguments to this issue, which I don't know if we should even really call an issue, but for the lack of a better term, let's just call it an issue. So there's four different arguments. Now I know what you're thinking. There should only be two, right? Either you're for it or you're against it. You like the race swaps or you don't. But there's actually four from what I've kind of, synthesized from what I've read in different opinions. There's four. Okay. And I'm going to start with the extremes. Now, on one extreme, there's going to be people of the opinion who don't want to see a black actor or black actress take on certain major roles, regardless. If they see a black actor in a major role, they automatically assume that it's woke. They're the probably the group of people who are making the memes actually coming at the actresses or actors, and kind of shaming them and calling them derogatory names and making the memes and different derogatory cartoons. Now that's the extreme. Then they're not going to be satisfied regardless. Now the other extreme is the people who want race swaps or gender swaps and sexuality swaps just because they feel like it'll make people upset. They actually don't even care if the content that's produced is actually good, if the story is good, or if they even go in line with the source material. They don't care. They just care to change things just because the status quo or the source material, a different group that they don't like, likes it. So that's also the other extreme of this topic. Now what I really want to talk about is the two in the middle, the people who are actually using some forms of logic. Okay, because neither of those two extremes I personally agree with or see their points, so they just kind of so out there. But when that being said, in the moderate, there are valuable opinions on actually both sides of this topic. Now there are ones that are against the race swaps when it comes to ginger characters. It's actually technically divided as well, but I'm just gonna put them in the same kind of level. There's actual ginger people or redheaded people who feel like their characters or people that like look like them are getting erased in live action. Now, far as that, the gravity of it, I wouldn't be able to kind of tell you. Obviously, I'm not redheaded or I have black hair, and I'm black as well. But they do feel like they're personally getting kind of erased, and not just because it just happened one time. Is because it's been a consistent thing. Like I say too, is if something happens once, okay, cool. If it happened twice, okay, maybe just be a coincidence. But when it happens 3, 4, 5 times, then it may not be a coincidence at this point. And maybe Hollywood just has a certain, when it does their casting calls, this is what they're looking for. So I get that to an extent as well. And then the kind of even in that same vein of other people who don't want these race swaps when it comes to ginger characters, would probably be more black people who feel like when you just race swap a character or you put in a black actor or actress for a ginger character, or really any white character for that matter, you're basically getting their seconds instead. You're basically you're getting their crumbs, or once they're done with a character, once the white writers may be done with the character, it was like, okay, how can we make them interesting? Okay, let's just make them black. So in that way, that's more so, that's honestly, they'll be insulting to the to the actor and actress if they're casted just because they want to check a box, and not necessarily because they feel like they're the best person for the role. So there is that thought too, is that they're basically getting secondhand characters, while there's powerful black characters that we have. You have like Storm, Black Panther, Luke Cage, that's in Marvel, and there's plenty of other ones, things like that. So they feel like they should just focus on if you want black actors to do these roles, then focus on the black characters that are obviously already the source material. They're already black, and it makes sense just to cast them in that role. Now, on the other moderate side of this one, people who are okay with the race swaps to say that, hey, it's just a character, as long as they embody that character, it doesn't matter the color of the skin. It matters if they can, bring something to the story, if they can bring something to the role. That's what matters most, and especially if it's a character whose their origin is not necessarily race based or region based. Like some people bring up like Mulan or even T'Challa with Black Panther, as they would never be race swapped because their story is their region where they come from is actually important to the telling of their story. Now, when you have like Little Mermaid and Starfire, obviously those are mythical places. Their story takes places in places that don't exist. Well, I know the ocean actually exists, but you guys know what I mean. It's the places that we don't know that are people in the real world actually exist. So as you can see, both sides, they have different arguments that actually kind of make sense. Not talking about the extremes. We're kind of just cutting the extremes out because they more so have a versus mentality. So it's always gonna be like a tit for tat thing. It's a competition. And sometimes it's not even competition. Sometimes some people just, have hate. That's just what it is. So like I said, not talking about those extremes. We're mainly focused on the logical people, kind of in the middle on both sides of this. Because some people might say, yeah, I don't like the race swap thing. I don't like having the crumbs or the secondhand characters from these other characters who has been established as white. Or other people's like, hey, yeah, I like seeing black actors and actresses take on these roles. It doesn't really matter the color of the skin. I just like to see that they can do the role, and I like to see myself on screen. And also know a lot of people are like, hey, yeah, it's just for the kids. It's for the kids. Well, I agree to an extent. Yes, it is ultimately for the kids, and they're not gonna really care too much. But adults are consume a lot of this content as well. Really, most of it, and we pay for it as well. We're putting our money into it, so I think it's important to get adults' opinion as well. So obviously, the kids are gonna be entertained, and that's good. Obviously, we're not really talking about our kids' perspective on it. Even though we know that some of them is made for kids, but it has to also gratify the adults who are gonna be paying for the tickets too. You know what I mean? But beyond that, I want to bring up one more thing. Now this I just saved for last because it's kind of an offshoot from the rest of the content because it's more so on conspiracy territory. But people have also noted that even the term ginger in itself, if you look at the word and you rearrange some of those letters, you get a very negative derogatory term for black individuals. So people have kind of went to conspiracy territories as like a inside joke with I guess Hollywood elites or Hollywood producers to make this change, because also like rearranging the letters to say this particular term, which I will not be saying on my page. So that's something else as well. Now that does go more so on the side of, hey, I don't like the race swapping because of this. But like I said, take that bit of information for what you will. It's not necessarily a argument. Well, I guess in a way it is an argument, but I know it is more so in a conspiracy territory with playing around with words. But words have meaning too. So take with that what you will. So that just may be something you just totally dismiss, or something you may take to heart, or you may just find yourself in the middle and just find it kind of interesting, a little weird. Like I said, with it being something that's pretty consistent in Hollywood these past couple years, it does raise some eyebrows. So like I say, if it's a couple times, then okay, yeah, it's just a coincidence, they just chose the best person. But when it's repetitive over years, it does kind of raise some eyebrows. And it's still going on. Like you also had Hot Girl in the CW. She was cast, I believe she's a black actress. And then you also had Batman's latest sidekick. She's the red-haired Robin. I can't remember her name, but she was also recently cast by a black actress, I think, for the Gotham Knights show. So it's still something that's currently going on, and that's why I still find it interesting. Like I said, there's something you can probably pull from both sides of this issue. But where do you guys fall on it? Do you like race swaps? Do you not like it? And whichever side you fall on, what are your reasons? And me personally, when it comes to my opinion on it, whether it's good or bad, it always depends on the why. Because you want to also respect the actor or actress. If you're just hiring them, it's just because you want to, fill a diversity quota, or you just want somebody black in there, then I think you're being disrespectful to the actual actor and actress. But if you feel like someone can genuinely do a great job for this role because of their ability, and also it also makes sense for the character, better than the source material, then yeah, I guess in that sense it makes sense. But what are you guys listening to me for anyway? I'm a casual. Cue the outro.